Date dot new instance.
Create a function invoice date, which will take invoice date and quantity as input parameter. Return invoice amount. Now I want to return some invoice amount, so let me take some decimal if I want. Then I'm taking invoice data. What are the parameters we are taking? Date, invoice date, integer. What you are supposed to do? Decimal amount. I asked you to give invoice amount. Then I gave a condition. If invoice date is before or equals to, less than or equals to, date dot new instance of 2019 310. If the date is before or equal to March 10th 2019, then invoice amount equal to into else I told invoice amount equal to 50,000 into, then I ask you to return invoice amount. So if it is a date dot new instance of year, month, day, because I want to refer to a particular date. When you want to refer to a particular date, then I have to give date dot new instance of year, month, day.
Yeah, I did this, but when I'm trying to print it, I don't know how should I pass the value, because invoice date, it's if I give 2019, comma 3, comma 10.
When you want to pass it, then you are supposed to call invoice date data, or else I can give invoice data now. Either you create a date instance if you already have a date value, so d comma 10. Otherwise, you can create date dot new instance of, right. You are passing the date value when you are calling it. You are passing the date value. You are passing one date value. This is the quantity. Or else you create the date first and pass that variable here. D comma 10. D is a date, 10 is the quantity. Right, boss? Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Right. Let me get into the loops. I hope everyone is good with this. Right. Again, I'm repeatedly saying it. Boss, if you don't implement the use cases or exercises what is given, you will not understand the programming. Simply by listening to my classes, you will not learn programming. You have to make an attempt of writing the use cases. If you don't make a use cases, you will not be getting the experience what you require. I'm making very clear in the beginning. If you just practice my programs, you can start one more institute in front of me. If you just practice my program, that's what you can do. You can start one more institute. That's how 20 to 30 institutes have come up here. You will become a 21 or 31 institute. If you just implement this, my programs, you can start one more training institute. But you will not be getting an experience. You are supposed to do the exercises what are given to gain hands-on experience. Right. Let us go to the next one. So we have just started with the loops. In the last session, we just started with the loops. Let us continue with the loops. So what was the fourth exercise? Create a loop that print all the even numbers. Now we want to understand what is the even number. Basically, when you divide by 2, remainder is 0. Now how do you get a mod? We want to get a remainder. If you want to get a remainder, we have a math dot mod. Math is a predefined class. Math class. Look at this. We have a predefined class. In the math class, we have some functions, right? One of the function is mod. One of the function is mod. What was that? Integer 1, integer 2. When you divide integer 1 by integer 2, whatever the remainder we are getting, that we are going to get. Mod integer 1 comma integer 2. When you divide the integer 1 with integer 2, whatever the remainder we are getting, that value is given to you. Mod. So how we are going to give was math.mod integer 1. If you divide integer 1 by integer 2, reminder written. So I am going to give some example math.mod 15 comma 2. So if you divide the 15 by 2, we get a remainder as 1. Math.mod 27 by 5, you divide it, we are going to get the remainder as, it gives you the remainder. When you divide the 27 by 5, whatever the remainder we are getting, that remainder we are going to get it. Okay. This is how we are doing. Now I want to get all the numbers between 1 to 50. If you want to take all the numbers from 1 to 50, how do you write the loop? For integer I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 50. So the loop will run, loop will take 1 to 50 values. Loop will take 1 to 50 values. In that 1 to 50 values, I am taking integer a equal to math dot mod I comma. Divide the value of I. What is the value of I? I equal to 1. Divide 1 by 2. Remainder is 1. Next, I equal to 2. I equal to 3. Like this, the I will go up to loop, right? I equal to 1, I equal to 2, I equal to 3. Then, when you divide, if a equal to 0, if the remainder is 0, if the remainder is 0, then I want to say print I value. I hope you are clear with this. I have taken a loop which will run from 1 to 50. I equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 50 it takes. Now, one by one value I have taken. I equal to 1. 1 divided by 2. Remainder 1. It's an odd number. 2. 2 divided by 2. 0. Print it. 3 divided by 2. Remainder 1. Don't print it. 4 divided by 2. 0. Print it. So, wherever we are getting even numbers, it is going to print it. I hope you are good with this. Everyone is good with this? Right. Now do the fifth exercise.
Satish, I have a question.
Yeah, 1 minute, Amma. Everyone do the fifth example. Everyone, with the help of this, do the fifth example. Yes, go ahead with your question.
Yes, I was having a problem. Apex CPU time limit exceeded. I was not using math.mod. I was doing this like I is equals to 2, I
CPU
less than or
time.
equals to 50.
Okay.
Apex CPU time limit exceeded. I was not using math.mod. I was doing from the initialization itself. I made integer as 2, I less than or equals to 50, I plus 2 I did. So it will take 2, 4, 6, whatever the output it is coming here, it should come as like that only. But it was ended
When
up
the
with
CPU
Apex
time
TP limit
exceed, it's
exceeded.
not only because of the execution, it may be because of the delay also. So you are supposed to do I equal to I plus 2 you have given, right? Or I plus 2 you
Yeah,
have given.
I plus 2 I have given, yes.
It's not I plus 2, I equal to I plus 2.
Okay.
So because of which the
Okay. Okay.
operation is delayed. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Now complete the
Satish,
fifth one. Yeah.
can you please explain this one more time? What is this like? If a is equal to 0 and math dot mode, can you please explain one
See,
more time?
you are dividing 5 divided by 2. What is the remainder you are going to get?
1,
1.
1,
So when you get remainder as, when you divide any number by 2, if you get remainder equal to 1, it is a odd number.
odd
You
number.
take any even number, 4 divided by 2. What is the remainder we are going to get?
0,
So it will be even number.
even number.
That's what I have taken. I have taken I divided by 2. You divide the I value by 2. If you are getting 0, it's an even number. If you are not getting
Oh,
0, it is not an even number.
Okay, now I got it. So A is a variable and we are assigning the even number into this A variable, right? And then printing
No.
it, right?
A is the reminder we are taking. This is going to give you reminder.
Okay.
Okay. If the remainder is 0, then print the value of I. When you divide I by 2, if you are getting a remainder equal to 0, then the
Mm-hmm.
even number print it.
Okay, got it. Got it. Thank you.
So do the fifth one. What is the fifth one? The same example where we are given for integer I equal to 1, I is less than or equal to 50, I plus plus. So where I have taken integer a equal to math dot mod I comma. You want odd numbers. So odd number means remainder should be 1. If remainder is 1, it will be odd number. Why I am not using a floor bracket here? Single statement. Because it is a single statement we are using it. Now, everyone is done with the fifth one? Let us go to the next example. Go with the example number 6. Create a for loop. Print the sum of all the numbers between 1 to 50. Create a for loop. Print the sum of all the numbers between 1 to 50. Create a for loop. Print the sum of all the numbers between 1 to 50. You want to take a sum of all the values. So what I am taking here? First, take integer sum equal to 0. Then, for integer I equal to 1, I is less than or equal to 50, I plus plus. Then what I am taking here? Sum equal to sum plus I. Now what is your operation? Initially sum equal to 0. Then I told I equal to 1. Then I told sum equal to I plus sum equal to sum plus. What is sum? 0 plus 1. Then take the next one. Next time go sum equal to 1. I equal to 2. What is the value? Sum equal to sum plus. What is sum? 1 plus I2. Sum equal to 3 we got. 1 plus 2. Then I equal to 3. Sum equal to sum plus 3. This is how the loop will run. So what we are doing? Adding all the values. We got 6. I equal to 4. Sum equal to sum plus. Now what I am doing? Adding 1 plus 2 plus 3. I want to form a operation like this. This is what I want to create. To achieve this, I have done it. Integer sum equal to 0. Right. So whatever the examples I am giving, this I am going to use it in the programming. Right. So whatever I frequently use in the programming, those use cases only I have created. Right. So we want to add a sum of all the first 50 numbers. That's how I take it. Initially the starting sum is 0. For the 0 we are adding sum equal to sum plus I. I hope you are good with this. Now do the 7th example.
Satish, regarding the 6th one, you have mentioned system.debug outside the scope.
So now final sum I want to print. You
Yes.
want to print at every level, you want to print like this, sum equal to 1.
No.
Then you have to give within the loop. If I write outside the loop, after making all the sum of values, I am printing the value.
Okay.
Now complete the 7th and 8th Complete the 7th and 8th.
Hi Satish.
Yes, sir.
Why can't you take this integer sum equal to 0 in after this for loop?
Within the loop you want to take. If you take within the loop, what happened? Every time sum equal to 0. Now, the sum equal to 0 plus 1, next time it has become 1. Right? Suppose if I take this within the, if I take this within this one, take within this one, then what happened? Now here, sum. Now next time also what is it? Sum equal to 0, I equal to 2. Sum equal to 0, I equal to 3. Because you are every time saying sum equal to 0, right? Every time you go inside, you are making sum equal to 0. So every time the sum will be 0. I don't want the sum to be 0. I want the sum to be sum of the previous value. Did you get my point? Here the sum has to be 1. In this case, the sum has to be 3. If I give within the loop, every time I take, he asked me a question. He's asking me, why don't we take I equal to, why don't we take integer sum equal to 0 inside and say sum equal to, if this is the loop, what is the format? I equal to 1, then sum equal to 0, then sum equal to sum 0 plus, again I equal to 2, again I told sum equal to 0, sum equal to 0 plus, this is how the loop comes. Now I don't want every time sum to be 0, whatever the previous value is there, previous value plus next value. That is the reason we have taken outside. I hope you're good. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you are resetting sum is equal to 0 every time.
Exactly. Every time you run, this will run again freshly. Go ahead with the 7th and 8th, everyone. The same combination of previous example and this example.
Satish, can you scroll up once? Go to the if you have mentioned in the for loop. What have you used else in that too?
We know we just gave. I am taking separate. Only I require odd numbers. You want to put them?
What if we get a reminder? So if we didn't happen, then will it go to the else, or what
See,
happens if
you want some else to be? If conditions false, you want to perform some action. Then you write else. I don't want any action to happen if condition is false. Then I don't write else. Okay. I'll try to convey it. Probably I'll take one more example to convey the same. Now what was the condition here? Integer sum equal to 0 for integer I equal to 1. I is less than or equal to 50. Then what I was supposed to do? Integer a equal to math dot mod I command. If a equal to 0, then if it is even number, then only make sum equal to sum plus I. Right, boss? So in this case, I have taken sum equal to 0, I equal to 1. When you got a equal to 1, then don't perform any operation. Next, sum equal to 0, I equal to 2, then a equal to 0, then make sum equal to sum plus. This is how we are making it. The same story I was taking. Same story I was taking here. Only the difference is I have to take odd numbers. So if equal to 1, sum equal to sum plus 1. I hope you are good with this. Okay. Now let us take one more example here. Create a for loop which will sum all the even numbers and sum all the odd numbers between 1 to 50. So create a loop which will give a sum of all the even numbers, sum of all the odd numbers. So what we are supposed to do? Create two separate variables. One is to print the sum of odd numbers, another is to print the sum of even numbers. Online, somebody has asked me a question. The same. I'm answering your question here. Some mobile is there on the table. Right. Now we are taking integer. Then we are going with for integer I equal to 1. Then I was giving integer a equal to then I was taking if a equal to 0, then even sum. Now if it is not 0, I have another operation. Then I am writing. If you want to perform anything, if condition is false, then I write else. It is not necessary that every if should have else. It is not necessary that every if will have else. If you have condition is to do this. Condition is false, you don't want to do any operation, don't write else. Else we will write only if we have any operation to be performed when the condition is false. Else I will write only if I have any operation to be performed when the condition is false. I hope you are clear with this. Somebody from online has asked me the question.
Yes, Satish.
In the 8th example, instead of taking integer a equal to math.mod, you can simply give in the for loop, you can increment I plus 2, right?
We can do it, but every time the calculation is going on, right?
Okay.
Okay. If you have followed these things perfectly, then we'll go to multiple loops. Everyone is comfortable with this, right?
Sir, please come again, sir. These integer even odd.
1 minute, Amma. Online 1 minute. 1 minute. Some question from classroom. Multiply. Okay. Now you want to take a variable. Now tell me. Okay. Tell me your code. Okay. Okay. M equal to 1. Okay. That same I am writing. No, whatever the division you want to do, when there is a predefined function, why you want to take a headache of taking your own logic? See, there are n number of ways. There are n number of ways to achieve the things. But we need to look for simplicity. Okay. When I write a particular format, it is not only the format. There will be n number of ways. Okay. You can say you divide by into 5 into. Okay. You can have a number of options. Okay. Chalo. Everyone is okay. Online, someone is asking a question. Go ahead. Make it quick, Amma.
In the beginning, sir, as you said that integer odd sum equal to, it should be 1, no, sir?
Sum equal to. I didn't get your question. Could you please repeat?
So in the second line, you have mentioned the integer even integer or sum equal to 0.
Yeah.
Second line.
See,
So it must be
initially everything is now sum I want to make it. Initial sum will be what? If you don't give it 0, what it will take? Null it will take. What is the default value? What is the default value? If I don't give any value, what is the default value? Null. Null plus 1 error. Null plus 1 is error. Now it can 0 plus 1 it will give you value. Null plus 1 is error. If you don't give any value, it is a default value is null. That is the reason we made it as 0. Initial my sum is 0. I am adding the values. Which value you want to add? If it is even number, I want to add even. If it is even number, add it to even sum. If it is odd number, add it to odd sum. Initially, what is the value of sum? If I don't initialize the value, what is the default value? Null. Null plus 1 is error. Null plus 2 is an error. You cannot add a value to null. Right? That is the reason I have taken a sum equal to 0. I hope you're good.
and the integer a equal to
Could you increase your volume and make it clear? And make it very.
the fourth integer a equal to math dot mod I dot I comma 2.
Okay.
Please explain.
Boss, sir. When you say I is 2 divided by 2, what is the remainder you're getting? 0.
0.
I is 3 divided by 2. What is the remainder you're getting? 1. That's what it is doing. They will divide the first value with the second value. If I is 2, divide 2 by 2. If I is 3, divide by 2. What we are getting? 1. So we are going to get 1 or 2. When you divide any number by 2, we are going to get 0 or 1. 1 will be for odd numbers, 0 will be for even numbers. Right? Right. Chalo, please mute your mic. Right. Let me complete the topic. Right. Now, please mute your mics. Please mute your mics. Ask your question when I give exercise. Mute your mic. Right. Right. Boss, don't write any programs in the sandbox now. You're in the beginning of the story. I gave sandboxes for you to practice administration, not for practicing development. We didn't start any development activities yet. We are going with the basics. So people have different question set. Different. So I have given a sandbox for you to practice administration. We are still didn't start the development activity. We are still with the basic formula of writing the program. You cannot practice these things on sandbox and other things. Right? You are supposed to practice administration activities. You have done the administration, practice those topics. And second thing, your sandbox is nothing different from a production. Only thing is different environment. Whatever the way you write here, there also you write in the same way. Don't, okay. Right. Okay, let's go to the next one. Create a for loop. Create a for loop. Create a for loop. Okay, to print the messages. Now I want to take multiple loops. Everybody is comfortable with a single for loop? Right. Let us take a multiple for loop within a loop. Right. Now I will take like this. For integer I equal to 1, I is less than or equal to 3, I plus plus. Now tell me I equal to 1, I equal to 2, I equal to 3. Am I clear? Am I clear with this? This is the meaning of the loop, right? For I equal to 1, I equal to 3, I is less than or equal to 3, I plus plus. Now I wrote a for loop. For integer x equal to 1, x less than or equal to I x plus plus. Okay, this is what I have taken. Let me give you. So when I equal to 1, what is the condition? X equal to 1, x less than or equal to I. What is the value of I? 1, x plus plus. So how many times this will run? X equal to 1, 1 less than or equal to 1, condition is 2. Then I told system dot debug x. Now x equal to 1, 1 less than 1, print x. What is the value of x? Then x plus plus. When x equal to 2, what will happen? Then x is incremented, x equal to 2, 2 less than or equal to 1, condition is false. Stop the operation. Right? This loop is completed. Again go back. X equal to 1, x is less than or equal to 2, x plus plus. Now what is the value of x? X equal to 1. X equal to 1, 1 is less than or equal to 2, condition is 2, print 1. Then increment the value of x. Now x equal to 2, 2 less than or equal to 2, condition is 2, print the value of x. X equal to 3, 3 less than or equal to 3, condition is false. Stop it. So again, what is the value of x here? X equal to 1. Okay, x is less than or equal to 3. Then 1 is less than or equal to 3, condition is true, print 1. Then increment the x. X equal to 2, x is less than or equal to 3, 2 less than or equal to 3, condition is 2. Then x equal to 3, x less than or equal to 3. Did you get my point? Did you get my point? So for every I equal to 1, run the inner loop 1 time. If I equal to 2, run the inner loop 2 times. If I equal to 3, run the inner loop 3 times. Are you getting my point? If I equal to 1, inside loop should run 1 time. If I equal to 2, inside loop should run 2 times. If I equal to 3, inside loop should run 3 times. Are you getting my point? If I equal to 1, run the loop 1 time. If I equal to 2, run the loop 2 times. If I equal to 3, run the loop 3 times. Then how will we get it? This is how the structure. Once again, let us see the programming. First, for integer I equal to 1, I is less than or equal to 3, I plus plus. So what is our requirement? When I is 1, logic should run 1 time. I is 1, logic should run 1 time. If I equal to 2, logic should run 2 times. If I equal to 3, logic should run 3 times. If I equal to 3, 3 times. I equal to 2, 2 times. That is the reason I am giving here. For integer x equal to 1, x less than or equal to I. Run the loop x. Okay, run the loop I times. Run the loop I times. System.debug.
Any carriage return, new line is required, new line function?
Yeah, I can give it. So once you run this, I want to go to new line. So if you want to go to new line, system.debug slash means what? New line. Basically, see, the point here is this is not printed on the UI. This is printed in the log file. I told you system.debug is for printing on the testing environment. Testing log file, not on the UI. In the UI, we don't require. Every system.debug will be printed in the new line only. Are you getting my point? Every system.debug will be printed in the new line. Okay. So this is what we are going to give it. This is we are printing the statement in log file. Log file. I hope you got the clear. You got it. You got the story. For every, if I is 1, logic is runs 1 time. I is 2, logic will run 2 times. I is 3, logic will run 3 times. I hope you are good. Now, looking at this, complete the exercise 10. Looking at this, complete exercise 10.
Yes, sir.
Come again. Complete the next. Yeah. Meanwhile, anybody has a query? Go ahead.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the to print the odd numbers, we are using a equal to 1.
You're not clear, Amma. Your voice is not clear.
To print the odd numbers, we are
Mhm.
using a equal to 1, right?
Yes.
Can we use a is not equal to 0?
Both are same, no?
Yeah, but how can we show not equal to in effects? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Right. Okay. Now, if I equal to 1, loop has to run 3 times. I equal to 2, loop has to run 2 times. I equal to 3, loop has to run 1 time. Then, how you make it? So, I am taking it for integer I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 3. For integer x equal to 1, x less than or equal to s less than or equal to 3 minus right. So what I can give x equal to, if I equal to 1, the loop has to run 3 times. So I have to give 4 minus x plus plus. X plus plus. Then now tell me how we can implement it. Now if you go with this x equal to 1, 1 less than, the condition is wrong here. Now tell me what is the other way we can write. You can give x equal to 1, I have to run 2, 3. I have to run 2, 3. Then
Can do I
decrement the
minus
value of, if you decrement the value of I, the top value also will be decremented. If you decrement the value of I, the top value also will be decremented. Right. So then I equal to 3. I equal to 3. I equal to 3. I equal to 3. You are making a reverse operation. I is less than. Okay. Chalo. I is equal to 3. I less than, greater than or equal to, or I have to say I is greater than or equal to 1. I minus 1. So value of I is 3. So x equal to 1. X is less than or equal to I x plus plus. I value you are decrementing, x value you are incrementing. Then print debug. Now what was the loop here? I equal to 3. 3 greater than or equal to 1. Condition is 2. Then x equal to 1. X equal to 1. X is less than or equal to 3. Then print x. What is the value of x? 1. Then x equal to 2. X equal to 2. X less than or equal to 3. Condition is 2. Then we have x equal to 3. Now x equal to 3. print the value of x. Now this is what we have taken. Because I equal to 3, we are comparing with 3. What is the next one we had? I minus minus. Decrement. 2 greater than or equal to 1. X equal to 1. X less than or equal to 2. X equal to 2. X less than or equal to 2. Now, third condition, it will be false. I equal to 1. Then 1 greater than or equal to 1. Then I told x equal to 1. X greater than or equal to 1. So, operation is going to run once. So, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Now, we are decrementing the value of x. Just, it is only to practice the logic. This is not a programming. The purpose of writing this is to improve your logical writing. This is to only insist you how to write the logics. This is not the programming. We are just insisting how to improve the skills of writing a logic. Practically, we don't use all this stuff. This is only to increase your logical writing. Logic writing, we are trying to insist how to write a logics. Only for the purpose, we are taking this example. We don't practically use this. Right, boss? I hope you are good with this. Okay. Let us go ahead with the next one. 11th example. Make it fast, boss. We have to cover one more topic today. Create a loop to print 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. Everyone is comfortable with this? Right.
Satish, I have a question.
Go ahead, Emma.
How to generalize these things like printing and numbers? Is there any way to generalize? I mean, without having difficulty in writing the loops, how can we generalize?
No. You're only with practice, you'll understand the logic writing. That's all. There is no other option.
Okay.
We cannot make it generic because things will change from use case to use case.
Okay.
So Satish, I have a question. Like when you scroll up like 112 and 123. 112 and 123, right here, yeah. So why can't we make like this is like 10 into 0? I mean like 10 power of 0 plus 1, 10 power of 1 plus 2, 10 power of 2 plus 3, right? How do we write power of 2 or power of 1?
There is a symbol exponential. There is a function. There is a function for it called exponential. Okay. There is exponential function, or else we have cap.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Practically, you have to use a function, math function. Right. So what was this? If it is I equal to 1, 1 time, I equal to 2, 2 times, I equal to 3, 3 times. Then, what I was supposed to do? For integer, I equal to 1, less than or equal to 3, I plus 2. For integer x equal to 1, x less than equal to I. Then what I am printing? I want to print the value of I. The print I. I is 1. X equal to 1. X is less than or equal to 2. So the loop will run 2 times. Loop will run 2 times. Loop will run 3 times. I hope you are good with this. Okay. Now let us get back to the main concepts now. So whatever you have done just to see basic snippet of writing a if-else condition, function, loop we have seen. Now we'll try to come into the Apex programming. In Apex programming, everything that we write should be in Apex class. In Apex program, everything we write will be in Apex class. We have to create everything in that class and execute. In Apex programming, anything that you want to write, it has to be created like a class and write it. In Apex programming, anything that we write, it has to be created like a class and write it. So when you want to learn the concept of class, prior to that, we are supposed to understand few concepts called access modifiers. What are the concepts we have? Access modifiers. What is these access modifiers? How we are going to use it? Quickly, let us understand this point. So before we start the concept of class, we need to understand the access modifiers. Now let us say I have some data. This is my data. My name, my age, let us say qualification, technology I trained, my organization, institute name, company for which I work, my company name, salary, experience, and let us say my girlfriend name, bank account number. Now, all this data belongs to Satish. All this data belongs to Satish. Will I share every information with everyone? Now the data belongs to me. Now my name, my age, qualification, technology, institute in which I train, company for which I work, my salary, experience, my girlfriend name, my bank account number. Will I share all this data with everyone? Now the data belongs to me only, but out of this data, I want to share some data with some people. I want to product some data from others. Now the question is, which data you want to share with everyone? Which data you want to share with your company people? Which data you want to share with only you? Now this we want to understand. Look at the point. My name, I don't have any problem in sharing it. Now, right, open to everyone. Now there are 4 things here. Everyone, my company, okay, everyone or only organization, friends, then keep myself. Now, I want to keep name. My name I can share with everyone. Age. Now maybe my organization and friends knows it. Right. Then qualification, right? Maybe my organization and friends knows it. Technology which I train, everyone knows. Institute which I train, everyone knows. Company in which I work, only okay, my organization and friends knows it. Salary I got, my friends knows it. Experience I have, okay, organization and friends knows it. Will I share my girlfriend number with my wife? Right. So this I have to keep myself. Right. Now bank account number, this I'll be keeping for myself. Now when I have a data, I don't share entire data with everyone. When I have data, now I need to decide which can be shared with everyone, which can be shared with organization friends, which can be shared with only friends, which I have to keep for myself. Now that means scope of this data, to whom I can show this data, who can access this data, who can see this data, this I have to decide. Whenever we are creating some data, who can see this, who can access it, I have to give. So who will specify this? Access modifiers will specify the scope of this data. Who can see this? Who can access it? Where we can use it? That is given by access modifiers. Access modifiers will say scope of the data what you created in the programming. Access modifiers will specify the scope of the data which you have created in the programming. Who can see it? Where we can access it? So what are those access modifiers here? We have global, public, protected, So what are these access modifier? Global, public, protected, private. Just like global, just like everyone. Public, organization and friends. Protected, private. Right. Global, public, protected, private. Okay, I'll explain it in detail. I hope you are good with this. Okay. Let us go back. Now, this is my organization. This is outside organization. This is my organization. This is my outside organization. In the organization, I have public, let me make it global. This is Salesforce. This is some external application. That may be anything, Java or .NET or SAP or something. Now, if you define anything as global, I can use within the class, within this class, I can use this A here, I can use A here, I can also use A here. If we define global, we can use anywhere within the organization. Anywhere within your organization we can use. We can also use outside the organization. Global means we can use anywhere within the organization. In any one of the class we can use, no problem. And outside the class also, outside the organization also can use. Global within your organization, outside your organization. If you define anything as a global, within the organization, outside the organization we can use it. Suppose I gave public. If I give public within this class, if I define anything as public, I can use it anywhere within the organization. Outside the organization, I cannot access. Global, anywhere within the organization, outside the organization. If I give it as a public, within the organization, anywhere. I can use in example, I can use in demo, I can use in testing, no problem. Next, I give protected. If I give protected, within the class where you define and within the child class. Not allowed. If you define any variable as a protected, only the class in which you have defined and the child classes can use it. Only the class in which we have defined and the child classes can use it. When you define it as a protected, within the class we can use it and within the child class we can use it. Are you getting my point? Not any other class. Global, anywhere within the organization, outside. Public, anywhere within the organization, but not outside. Protected, anywhere within the class in which you define and the child classes where we have used inheritance. Other classes are not accepted. Private, we say So it can be used only within the class in which we have defined. I hope you are clear with this. Global within the class, within the class, within the class, and within the outside the class, anywhere within the organization. Global anywhere within the organization, outside the organization. Public anywhere within the organization. Protected within the class, within the child class. Private only within the class. So these are the four. If I don't want anybody to see this data, only the class in which I have defined, it should be private. If you don't define anything, by default it is private. If you don't define anything, by default it will take it as private. If you don't define anything, by default it will take it as private. I hope you're good. Okay. Now let us take this concept here. I hope typically you are good with this concept.
So Satish, in that example, public class is different, public integer is different, right?
Yeah, both are different. Now, look at this. This will specify the scope of variables, methods, classes, interfaces in the program. Defined in the application. We have four types. Global, public, protected, if we define any class, interface, method, or variable as global, they can be accessed anywhere within the organization or outside the organization. In the organization and outside the organization. Web services are generally just give me 1 minute, some issue with the keyboard. Web services are defined. Service programs are defined as global. Public. If we define any class, interface, method, or variable as public, they can be accessed anywhere within the organization. Then we had protected. if you define method or variable as protected, they can be accessed within the class in which you have defined, and within the child classes. If you define method it can be accessed within the class in which they are defined. If you don't define any access modifier, then by default they are considered as private. So if you don't define anything, by default they are considered as no. Only test classes we define as private. Now generally global public controlled classes also, classes and interface. Protected and private, I have not given class and interface. So we don't define any class as a protected or private. Only test classes we are going to define them as private. No other class we define them as private. Class can be either a public or global. Class can be either a public or a global. In case if you are defining any test classes, there I can define them as, if you are defining any test classes, there I can define them as private. Okay. Any other queries on this?
Can you please explain the last note? Only test classes we define as private.
No. Only if your class, if you want to define any class, if you want to define any class as a private, it is only allowed for test classes. There will be a class and there will be a test class. For writing the test classes, we will use the private. Only for the test classes, class and test class, there are two things. While defining a test class, I can use private. For rest of the classes, it should be a global or public. Every class in the Salesforce will be a global or a public. Every class will be a global or a public. If you are defining a test class, there is a concept of testing. In the testing, we define classes. For those classes, we can define private. I hope you got my point. Only testing classes can be defined as private. Rest all the classes will be either global or public. Right, boss?
Okay. Yeah. So there is no class concept for only protected. Rest have some classes.
I hope you are good with this. Okay. Now, any other queries you have? Right. Now let us go to the next one. Class. I will be covering the class in the next session. Let us start in the freshly. Only. Right. Any other queries from your end? See, whatever we have seen right now, we have seen conceptually how to define them. So once we start the class, everything we are going to execute and see how they will work. Now whatever you have learned, the identifiers, methods or loops or everything, we are going to put everything within the class and execute it. Till now we have seen the basic format of writing the logics. If you are to write a for loop, how do you write? If you are to write a if, how do you write? Function, how do you write? We have seen syntaxes and logic writing for this concept. Now the execution has to happen from class. So once I start the class, Monday I will be starting the class concept. Okay, we'll start freshly on Monday and we'll discuss it. Right. Meanwhile, anyone has any query on this? Right. I hope everyone is good with this.
Satish, as you said,